Why don't we begin with personally, your decision. So you'd served, like I said, for just over a decade as a Conservative. What was the tipping point, in your opinion, that convinced you that you should switch over to the Liberal Party under Mark Carney?
Well, it all began actually after the last election. The Conservatives in my riding, many of them were really disappointed that Pierre lost the election. He lost his seat, and they just felt he couldn't win. And they started taking a look at Mark Carney. And over the summer, people were saying, I kind of like this guy. I kind of like what he's saying. He sort of stole most of the Conservative ideas. Do you think he's going to actually do them? And I was like, I don't know. We'll wait and see, I guess. But as things went along and we started to see that, in fact, the priorities that they're talking about, they're saying, let's do nation building projects. Let's diversify our trade, bolster our defense, combat crime. Let's build more houses. These are all the things that, first of all, the Conservatives were saying, but also all the people in the riding want, because those match up with our priorities. And we started to see, oil production doubled in the country, and an LNG terminal built and starting to ship, and a pipeline MOU. And then we started to see the 14 different trade agreements that have been negotiated and are on the way to, increasing the trade and lessening the dependence on the U.S. And so then a groundswell of people were saying, well, you know what, Marilyn, even my long-term Conservative supporters, we like you. We really do. We voted you in 4 times. But for 52 years before you got here, we were on the government benches. Whoever the MP was always in government. And we feel like we need to get back there to get the support for the things that we need here in this community. And so you need to get on the government benches. And, I didn't think they'd take me, to be frank. I thought that, I've said terrible things about the Prime Minister and the Liberal Party for 10 years. And that was one of the first points of discussion, actually, with the Prime Minister. And he was super gracious. And he just said, I'm not interested in looking backward. I'm interested in looking forward. I want to build a country. You know what the priorities of the government are. And with your global leadership, your engineering experience, and your parliamentary experience, frankly, you'd be a great addition to the teams.
Before here, when we were talking, you mentioned that there's people that have been, of course, very much in support, but there's also other people that are perhaps upset. What would you say to those people that are upset with your decision to switch to the Liberals?
Well, what I would say is, I understand that they're disappointed and frustrated and they're angry. Some of them are concerned that I've suddenly changed all of my views. And I would say, first of all, that's not the case. I'm the same person with the same views I've been talking about for 10 years. But there's room for those views now. The Mark Carney Liberals have moved more to the center and obviously have leveraged many of the Conservative ideas. And I hope that we can drive them in the direction that's really needed for this critical moment in the country. I do think the priorities that they're talking about are exactly the same ones that the Conservatives were talking about, but the government has got a serious leader and a credible plan. And so I would just encourage them, let's just give me the benefit of the doubt. Let's watch what happens over time. And I assure you that I'm absolutely going to stand up for Sarnia-Lambton-Bkejwanong, and I'm happy to, talk to anybody that has concerns and wants to hear more.